Imagine being able to speak English with the natural rhythm, pronunciation, and fluency of a native speaker, without living in an English-speaking country, without expensive tutors, and in a fraction of the time traditional methods require. Sounds impossible, right? But it's not. The shadowing technique has been quietly transforming English learners around the world, and today, you're going to discover exactly how this powerful method works and how you can use it to accelerate your journey to fluency. Shadowing is not just another study technique. It's a comprehensive approach that simultaneously develops your listening comprehension, pronunciation, intonation, rhythm, and even emotional tone as closely as possible. Think of it as becoming the speaker's shadow. You follow their speech patterns so closely that you're speaking almost at the same time they are, with just a slight delay of a fraction of a second. This technique originated in the world of simultaneous interpretation, where professional interpreters need to develop extraordinary listening and speaking abilities. They discovered that by practicing shadowing, they could train their brains to process and produce language at remarkable speeds. Language researchers then adapted this method for language learners, and the results have been consistently impressive. Unlike traditional language learning that separates listening, speaking, reading, and writing into isolated activities, shadowing integrates multiple skills at once, creating neural pathways that lead to natural, automatic speech. In this comprehensive guide, we'll explore everything you need to know about the shadowing technique. Whether you're a complete beginner just starting your English journey or an intermediate learner looking to break through to advance fluency, this method can revolutionize how you learn and speak English. Get ready to discover why shadowing might be the missing piece in your language learning puzzle. What exactly is the shadowing technique? The shadowing technique is a language learning method where you listen to audio in English and simultaneously repeat what you hear, matching the speaker's pronunciation, intonation, rhythm, and even emotional tone as closely as possible. Think of it as becoming the speaker's shadow. You follow their speech patterns so closely that you're speaking almost at the same time they are, with just a slight delay of a fraction of a second. This technique originated in the world of simultaneous interpretation, where professional interpreters need to develop extraordinary listening and speaking abilities. They discovered that by practicing shadowing, they could train their brains to process and produce language at remarkable speeds. Language researchers then adapted this method for language learners, and the results have been consistently impressive. Unlike traditional language learning that separates listening, speaking, reading, and writing into isolated activities, shadowing integrates multiple skills at once, creating neural pathways that lead to natural, automatic speech. In this comprehensive guide, we'll explore everything you need to know about the shadowing technique. Whether you're a complete beginner just starting your English journey or an intermediate learner looking to break through to advance fluency, this method can revolutionize how you learn and speak English. The science behind shadowing, why it works so well. Understanding why shadowing works helps you appreciate its power and motivates consistent practice. The technique is grounded in solid neuroscience and language acquisition research. Neuroplasticity and language learning. Your brain is remarkably adaptable, constantly forming new neural connections based on your experiences and practices. When you shadow English audio, you're creating and strengthening neural pathways associated with English pronunciation, rhythm, and structure. The more you practice, the more automatic these patterns become. Eventually, producing English sounds and sentence structures requires less conscious effort. You've literally rewired your brain for English. The motor theory of speech perception. Research suggests that we understand speech partly by internally simulating the motor movements required to produce it. When you shadow, you're not just hearing English, you're physically practicing the mouth, tongue, and throat movements needed to produce those sounds. This physical practice enhances your ability to recognize and understand those sounds when others speak them. In essence, better speaking leads to better listening and vice versa. Automatic processing versus controlled processing. When you first learn English, every sentence requires conscious effort. You think about vocabulary, grammar rules, word order, and pronunciation. This is controlled processing, and it's slow and exhausting. Native speakers use automatic processing. They don't consciously think about these elements, they just speak. Shadowing trains your brain to shift from controlled to automatic processing by forcing real-time production without time for conscious analysis. Prosody and natural speech patterns. Prosody refers to the rhythm, stress, and intonation patterns of language, the music of speech. Native English has specific prosodic patterns that textbooks rarely teach explicitly. By shadowing native speakers, you absorb these patterns naturally, just as children do. Your brain picks up on which syllables receive stress, how pitch rises and falls in questions versus statements, and how native speakers link words together in connected speech. Cognitive load and skill integration. Shadowing creates high cognitive load in a beneficial way. Your brain must simultaneously listen, comprehend, remember what it just heard, produce speech, monitor your output, and adjust in real time. This intense, integrated practice is far more effective than isolated skill practice. It's similar to how musicians improve faster by playing complete songs rather than practicing scales alone. Different types of shadowing techniques. Shadowing isn't one size fits all. Different variations serve different purposes and suit different learning stages. Basic shadowing, phonetic shadowing. This is where beginners should start. Focus purely on mimicking the sounds without worrying about comprehension. Your goal is to match the pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation as precisely as possible, even if you don't understand every word. This might feel strange initially. You're essentially making sounds without full understanding, but it trains your mouth and ears for English sounds. Think of it as physical training for your speech muscles. Content shadowing, semantic shadowing. Once you're comfortable with basic shadowing, add a comprehension focus. Try to understand the meaning while shadowing. This requires more cognitive effort because you're processing meaning while producing speech. It's closer to how native speakers operate. They understand and speak simultaneously. Start with simpler content where you understand most words before attempting more complex material. Interactive shadowing. This advanced variation involves anticipating what comes next based on context and language patterns. As you become familiar with English sentence structures and common phrases, you'll sometimes find yourself speaking the next word a split second before hearing it. This shows your brain is internalizing English patterns and can predict natural language flow, a key feature of fluency. Selective shadowing. Focus on specific elements like intonation, linking words, or particular sounds you find challenging. For example, you might shadow a passage specifically concentrating on how the speaker pronounces TH sounds or how they stress content words while reducing function words. This targeted practice addresses specific weaknesses. Scripted versus unscripted shadowing. Scripted shadowing uses prepared texts like audiobooks or transcripts. You can read along initially, then shadow without the text. Unscripted shadowing uses natural conversations, interviews, and spontaneous speech. Unscripted material teaches you natural pauses, hesitations, and corrections that occur in real conversation. How to get started: a step-by-step guide for beginners. Starting correctly ensures you build a solid foundation and avoid frustration. Follow these steps for shadowing success. Step 1. Choose appropriate material. This is crucial. Material that's too difficult will frustrate you and hinder progress. For beginners, choose content where you understand at least 70 to 80% of the words. The speech should be clear and not too fast. Good starting options include podcasts designed for English learners with clear, slower speech. Children's audiobooks, don't let pride stop you, they're excellent for beginners. News broadcasts in simplified English, educational videos with clear narration, scripted dialogues from quality language learning programs. Avoid material with heavy accents, rapid speech, mumbling, or excessive background noise when starting out. As you improve, gradually increase difficulty. Step 2. Listen first. Before shadowing, listen to your chosen audio 2 to 3 times without speaking. Focus on understanding the content, noticing the pronunciation, identifying the rhythm and melody of the speech. This preview prepares your brain for the shadowing work ahead. Read the transcript if available. Understanding the content makes shadowing easier and more effective. Step 3. Shadow with the transcript. For your first shadowing attempts with new material, read along with the transcript while listening and speaking. This provides visual support that helps you match sounds to words. Don't worry about perfection. Aim to keep up with the pace and mimic the sounds as best as you can. Your voice and the audio should blend together. Step 4. Shadow without the transcript. Once comfortable with the transcript, try shadowing without looking at the text. This is significantly harder but more beneficial. Your brain must rely entirely on your ears and your developing sense of English sounds and patterns. If you get lost, check the transcript briefly, then return to transcript-free shadowing. Step 5. Record and compare. Occasionally, record your shadowing sessions and compare with the original. This can be humbling but is incredibly valuable. You'll notice differences in pronunciation, rhythm, or intonation you weren't aware of. These insights guide your focus areas for future practice. Step 6. Practice daily. Consistency trumps duration. 15 minutes of daily shadowing produces better results than 2 hours once a week. Make shadowing a non-negotiable part of your daily routine, like brushing your teeth. Early morning works best. Your mind is fresh and you establish the habit before daily distractions arise. Choosing the right materials for your level. Material selection can make or break your shadowing practice. Here's how to choose wisely. For absolute beginners, you need crystal clear audio with relatively slow, deliberate speech. Recommended resources: English Class 101 Beginner Podcasts, Voice of America Learning English, specifically designed for learners. Simple children's stories like Peppa Pig or Dr. Seuss audiobooks, YouTube channels like Easy English or Learn English with TV series, Duolingo stories with audio. The key is clarity and simplicity. Don't be embarrassed to use children's content. Language learners worldwide use this strategy successfully. For elementary to pre-intermediate learners, you're ready for slightly more complex content, but still need clear pronunciation. TED Ed videos, educational but accessible. 6-Minute English by BBC Learning English. Graded readers with audio. Oxford Bookworms, Penguin Readers. Clear, well-articulated podcasts like The English We Speak. Animated movie dialogues. Pixar films have exceptionally clear voice acting. For intermediate learners, you can handle authentic materials with some complexity. TED Talks on familiar topics. Mainstream podcasts on your interests. Start with interview-style shows. TV series with clear dialogue. Sitcoms work well. Try Friends or Modern Family. Audiobooks of popular novels. News broadcasts from BBC, NPR, or CNN. For advanced learners, challenge yourself with diverse accents, faster speech, and complex content. Podcasts on specialized topics, political debates or intellectual discussions. Stand-up comedy, understanding humor shows advanced comprehension. Movies and TV series with natural, rapid dialogue. Academic lectures or professional presentations. General selection tips. Choose content that genuinely interests you. If you love cooking, shadow cooking shows. If you're into technology, shadow tech podcasts. Interest maintains motivation and provides relevant vocabulary. Also, vary your sources to expose yourself to different accents, speaking styles, and vocabulary domains. Don't shadow the same content endlessly. Variety accelerates learning. Common mistakes and how to avoid them. Even with good intentions, learners often make mistakes that limit shadowing effectiveness. Here are the most common pitfalls and how to sidestep them. Mistake 1. Choosing material that's too difficult. Ambition is admirable, but shadowing native speed, complex material when you're a beginner leads to frustration and poor learning. You'll struggle to keep up, your pronunciation will be sloppy, and you'll likely quit. Solution: swallow your pride and choose material slightly below what you think you can handle. You should understand most words and be able to roughly match the speed with practice. Mistake 2. Just mouthing the words silently. Some learners mouth the words or whisper them, thinking this counts as shadowing. It doesn't. Full voice engagement is essential. You need to activate all the muscles involved in speech production and hear yourself producing the sounds. Silent practice misses much of shadowing's benefits. Solution: speak out loud at normal volume as if having a real conversation. Mistake 3. Focusing only on speed. Beginners sometimes think shadowing means speaking as fast as possible. They race through materials, stumbling over words with terrible pronunciation. Speed without accuracy is worthless. Solution: start slower. If the audio is too fast, use playback speed controls to slow it to 0.75x or 0.8x. Perfect the pronunciation and rhythm at a slower speed, then gradually increase. Mistake 4. Never listening to yourself. Many learners shadow diligently but never record themselves or critically evaluate their output. Without feedback, you can't improve effectively. You might be consistently mispronouncing words or missing key intonation patterns. Solution: record yourself weekly. Compare with the original audio, note specific differences, and work on them. Mistake 5. Ignoring prosody and intonation. Some learners focus so heavily on getting individual words right that they ignore the rhythm, melody, and feeling of the speech. English prosody carries enormous meaning. The same sentence with different intonation can mean completely different things. Solution: consciously mimic the music of speech, where the pitch rises and falls, which words receive stress, how emotions are conveyed through tone. Mistake 6. Inconsistent practice. Shadowing intensively for a week, then not practicing for 2 weeks, then intensive practice again produces poor results. Language learning requires consistent reinforcement. Solution: commit to daily practice, even if just 10 minutes. Set a specific time and place. Use habit stacking. Shadow right after another established routine. Mistake 7. Not understanding the content. Shadowing material you don't understand at all, zero comprehension, limits learning. While phonetic shadowing has value, you learn more effectively when you know what you're saying. Solution: preview content, read transcripts, look up unknown words. Aim for at least 70% comprehension before shadowing.